Welcome back to Hot Topics Live podcast. I'm Kia, your host, and I am back. I am back with an incredibly important episode for you in my dating series. This is for people who are dating after divorce, who have been in a long term committed relationship, and now you're single and you want to get back out there, but you just don't know where to start because you've been single for like 10, 12, 13, 15, 18, 20 years, and everything has changed. So, if you don't know me by now, I'm Kia. I am a performance coach and I have been coaching since 2019, helping people, adult learners, and an online academy cross the finish line and complete their courses successfully. And what I'm doing with this is bringing that expertise and what I know from being in the dating world, because I'm out here doing it, I'm not just talking about it, and bring that all to you so that it can help your journey go smoother and you can avoid some of the mistakes that I've made and lots of my friends and people I know and the people who message me talk about as well. And so, with that, let's talk about boundaries. Let's get right into it. Oh, but before I do, I want to give a shout out to my girl, Kelly. Now, my friend Kelly is the CEO of a company called Eris Health. She is launching this organization that's creating a new mental health app that is all about making the experience a much better and easier experience to get the help that people need, right? And this app is going to completely disrupt the industry and change everything you know, okay, about seeking mental health on whatever level you're on. She is sponsoring this episode. So I want to thank her for that. And if you go to Instagram, you can follow Eris Health at Eris Health. They are just getting started. So go follow them and support, and you can follow the journey and, watch it evolve and come to life. So let's talk about boundaries because this is really important when you're out here trying to date. If this is the first episode you've seen, you have to go back and watch the other episodes because they are good ones, right? They're good ones. And we started with mindset and we moved on through, you know, um, getting your outside and inside ready and the healing work that needs to be done before you're actually ready to get back out there. And let me tell you what, honey, I see a lot of unhealed, broken people out here. And if you are getting involved with these people or you're one of them, it's just not going to work out or not be a healthy relationship. And so, the goal of this podcast series is to help you get into healthy relationships, right? That's what we want, that's what we need. So, with that said, let's jump into it. So we all have boundaries, hopefully. If you're not good at setting boundaries, you need to start. This is what is crucial in life to keep you safe in friendships in every relationship. And depending on what kind of attachment style you have or what your wounds are from childhood, you may have had a really hard time creating and setting boundaries. I know I did. And it's been something that I've worked on my entire life to get very firm with my boundaries. And these boundaries are what keep you safe. And you're not going to be perfect at it all the time. Practice, practice, practice. Just like working out, just like yoga, you've got to practice putting those boundaries in place. And these are the things that are going to keep you emotionally safe, mentally safe, and physically safe. Okay, so let's talk about the first boundary. We talked about mindset before, but this goes along with it. You need a vision for the ideal relationship. A lot of people just don't know what they really want. Like, what do you really, really want? Right. And so, what does that look like in the partner? What does that relationship look like to you? What is it that you want in a partner and how they move throughout their daily life, what their interests are, and what is the vision for your relationship? Because are you going to be compatible? What is the kind of lifestyle that you want to be living? Will they fit into your lifestyle with kids and all of that? And also, a big thing that I think gets overlooked is really trying to figure out. I'm sorry, my phone is blowing up. I swear, every time I come live, my phone starts blowing up. Okay. So people overlook how to resolve conflict, because people resolve conflict in healthy and unhealthy ways, in all different types of ways and styles. Okay. So, what is your preferred way of resolving conflict and that of the partner that you're looking for? Right. So, these are some important details you have to have in place. And there are multiple boundaries you can put in place, but we're going to talk about three that are my top three, actually. And so this is one of them, right? Because I want to have a clear vision of how I want the relationship to go. I mean, obviously, there's going to be variables when you meet different people and there's different energies involved, but you do want to kind of be clear on what it is you're looking for, what your core values are, and what's important to you. And when things don't align in the connection, how will you resolve that? Are you willing to work through that? Right? And is the person that you are with or talking to or interested in, are they the type of person that speaks their needs? And then if they don't, how are you going to work through that when things come up? And when things do come up, how are you going to work through those problems? And are they even willing to? Right? So these are the kinds of things you want to kind of have a clear plan, just like you would in business. You want to have a clear idea of what you're looking for. Like think of it like hiring an employee. I know that sounds really cool, but it's you're bringing someone for a job. And I'm not saying go on a date and like interview people. You have to be more charming than that, right? But it is kind of in a way. You're both feeling each other out. You're interviewing each other enough, especially if you're online dating, to see if you want to get to an in-person date. And then once you're in person dating, you're still kind of feeling each other out and getting to know each other and seeing if things will work from date to date to date until you decide if you want to be committed, right? So, having that vision for what you want will help you date intentionally. And when you're dating intentionally, you don't have to waste a lot of time, especially if you put emotional boundaries in place. Now, there are so many people who get attached really quickly. If you're an anxious attachment style, and again, if you're not familiar with attachment styles, I'm not going to break it down here. I've done it on Hot Topics Live podcast with my friend Marta, and you can look for those episodes. There's playlists now. So you can look for the dating and relationships playlists. You can go in there, you can find those episodes, you can learn all about attachment styles, or you can go to the Personal Development School here on YouTube. I am not affiliated, but I have taken some of their courses. They're great. I love Thais Gibson. She does great work. She goes in depth. You can learn lots and lots and lots and lots. I mean, you get like a master's degree on that channel in relationship attachment styles. So go find out what yours is, and there's a quiz. So find out what yours is, and then you can understand, because if you're an anxious attachment style, you will tend to get attached into relationships very quickly. If you are a child, and I often talk about childhood core wounds, right? If you are a child who suffered neglect, and it might not have been neglect because your parent didn't care about you, maybe your parent worked and you had a single parent and they worked all the time to provide for you, right? Maybe both of your parents were super busy, or maybe your parents passed away and you had other caregivers who just they weren't able to give you what you needed and you felt neglected as a child. Then you can have a tendency to overattach in relationships. And one of the things that overattaching does, or attaching too quickly into a relationship, is it's a recipe for disaster. It is a recipe for heartbreak. Okay. So, this is how you can keep yourself emotionally safe, by putting an emotional boundary in place. And that would look something like, if you find yourself sort of fantasizing about a future with a partner, right? And you've made it to some dates, and they're, of course, telling you all the potential things that they'd like to do with you. Yes, they'd like marriage, they'd like children, or if you're later stage dating, they could be like, I want a travel companion, I want someone to, wake up with whatever it is, and whatever that future is that they're laying out for you, you can then start to build it in your own mind and build onto it. And even if they're not telling you that stuff yet, you might just meet this new woman or this new man, and they're so like in line with what you're looking for. You start to project a potential reality for the relationship, and you're living in that reality more than you're living in the present reality. So we have to come back to the present, and we have to stay in what's actually going on, because you will hear a lot of wonderful things from both men and women at the onset of a relationship. There's chemistry, there's excitement, there's all of this energy that's juicy and wonderful. This is why I love dating, right? And there's hopefulness, and it's just such a good energy when you meet someone and there's the possibilities, right? But when you're talking to each other and you're getting to know each other, and you're feeling all of this, wow, this could be something, maybe this is my next partner, and you're getting excited, you have to remember that you just met this person. You don't know this person. They could be lying, they could be future faking, a lot of things that don't necessarily mean anything are being said right now and being felt right now. So it's really important to have this emotional boundary where you stay in the present. You don't project your hopes and dreams and wishes on the other person. Okay. You don't start imagining an entire life with them, an entire future with them. And you don't start living in these fantasies, or even just not even seeing more than what's actually there, right? Like, where you're like, oh, these person said that they've done these things. So in your mind, you attribute these characteristics to them that are positive that they might not even have, right? Or you could be seeing red flags, or and you decide to give the person the benefit of the doubt because you're not sure if it's a red flag or not, and you really want this. So you go into it like, okay, I'm going to give this person the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to trust and believe whatever they say, because I haven't known them long enough to know that they're toxic or a liar or a manipulator or unhealthy or completely broken or whatever it is. And you're so hopeful that you're letting that hope blind your intuition and blind your judgment and blind your logic. So if you go into it with an emotional boundary that says, I am going to stay in the present moment, and I'm just going to enjoy this moment and allow the moments to either add up or come to an end while remaining detached from the outcome. So setting a low expectation and keeping your values and your standards high. They're non-negotiable. They don't fluctuate. They don't move for the person. No matter how much you like them, how beautiful, fun, charming, amazing, you have to stay in the present moment and remind yourself, I don't know them yet. And this is important because you don't really know a person for a long time. Okay. So, which brings me to the third and what I feel like is the most important boundary of the three is time, a time boundary. So you have to decide for you going in what your time boundary is going to be. Okay. You have to decide. And hey, don't be shy. Drop a comment. Drop a comment. Okay. If you want to be included on the show, I'll put it up on the screen. So don't be shy, you guys. Just drop some comments. But hi, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you for listening. And I love the comments and feedback. So definitely, if you want to be part of the show, drop a comment. Don't be shy. So the time boundary. Like I said, probably the most important, because you need to decide when you're creating this vision of this relationship, So if the relationship's not aligning with your vision severely and you're compromising your values and your standards, that's crossing a boundary, right? So you have to reevaluate this and be willing to detach and walk away from that connection because boundaries need to be firm, especially if you're a loving, sweet, kind, big hearted person who tends to see the good in others, or you identify as an empath. You need to have firm boundaries and you need to have a support system that can help keep you accountable to holding your boundaries. If you're struggling or you're not good at it or you're just a soft sweet person that has trouble with your boundaries, male or female, you need to have a support system. And I encourage men always to join men's support groups. There's tons of them now. I had an episode with a male coach, Brandon Archer. You can find him on Instagram. He has he goes to men's groups and he hosts some. And these are really important because sometimes a lot of people had absent fathers and as a mother who was raising boys, a woman can't necessarily provide that masculine energy a boy needs to be an example of, right? We can raise great men, don't get me wrong, because I'm doing it. But I have positive male role models in my son's lives so that they can get that masculine energy and that example, that leadership by example, so that they can become good, strong men. And if you didn't have that growing up, then these men's groups, and even for if you did, these men's groups are a great place for camaraderie, support, and for healing, actually doing a lot of the healing so that you can become evolved men who are ready for evolved women and create more healthy, loving, safe relationships so that, this world can be a better place ultimately, right? We can have happier kids and happier lives. And it's a beautiful thing, really. So, this time boundary, right, is so critical because as you're creating this vision, you need to decide what the time boundaries are for you. So for me, mine are 3 months. I'm not going to believe anything you say for 3 months. I'm going to take it in and appreciate it, but I'm not going to put any value in it. Just me. You could tell me anything. You can tell me that you want to marry me tomorrow. I'm not going to believe you until I see the ring on my finger. And even then, I'm not going to believe because I want to take my time, is my point. Like, I want to take my time. So it's not really about the other person, it's about you setting this time boundary. I want to take my time. So after 90 days, you start to know a person a little more. But after 6 months, if someone is wearing a mask, you're starting to see the mask get cracks in it. Or a person is starting to feel more comfortable with you and you're moving through the honeymoon stage of the relationship and going into the power struggle phase. And this is the make or break phase. If you don't know the 6 stages of relationships, you have got to go find out, right? The power struggle phase is the phase where most people break up. Okay. So, with that said, this is where you're going to find out how you deal with conflict. This is going to be where you need to start talking about the person's, they're just not going to be able to meet all of your needs or know what they all are. So things are going to come up. And this is where you're going to see how each person is going to deal with it. If you're dealing with an avoidant attachment style, they're probably going to cut and run, to be honest with you, unless they've been working on themselves and healing, then they may be more willing to work on things with you, to understand that you're not a mind reader and that you're not going to just know what their needs are and meet them. They've got to tell you. And arguments are going to happen and disagreements, and you're going to have to figure out, does this person handle conflict in a way that makes you feel safe? Or can you discuss how handling conflict makes you feel safe, what ways to do that? And this person will honor that and work with you, right? So you're going to start to see the real person, but around 6 to 8 months. And so that's my timeline, right? 6 to 8 months before I really, really start to, I think, feel a little more comfortable with the person and really start to take the relationship in a more serious way. Not to say that you can't take it serious before then. It's just that if you have a time boundary in place, You want to take it slow. You want to build a friendship, build the foundation of the relationship upon friendship, even if there's chemistry, right? You don't, I mean, I would always advise to hold off on the whole sexual part of the relationship, right? As long as you can. Okay. Just as long as you can. It's going to be different for everybody, but men and women deal with that intimacy differently. We're all grown adults here. You have to make your choices. But to stay emotionally safe as a woman, you would want to more often than not take your time. We've got a rogue curl right there. Okay, so you'll want to take your time and really build that foundation of friendship because men connect emotionally. They don't need sex to do that. We should all know that by now. This is like the ABCs, one, two, threes. By the time you're our age, you should kind of know that. If you don't know that, there you go. Just told you. You should take it slow as a female, and men should respect that because honestly, women can be just as toxic and just as manipulative and narcissistic and all of that. And they can use sex in order to control men. So, I mean, no tea, no shade. I'm just being honest. All right. I don't, this is a safe space for both men and women. My audience is 50% men, 50% women. So honestly, that's what it is. You have to create this time boundary to take it slow, to build that foundation so that you have this friendship, this companion. You can see if you're truly compatible and how you flow together on your daily life, right? And let those days build up. And as you're getting to really know this person, you're staying in the present. So each day you're in the present, and then the time builds up, and you can check in with yourself at 3 months, at 5 months, at 8 months, at a year, and see how it's going for you in the relationship. Now, of course, if you're dating after 40, those time frames might be a little different because if you're both intentionally dating, a man could know that he wants to marry you 6 months into the relationship because he's at a point in his life where he's ready. A lot of times men, and even sometimes after 50, a lot of times men are not ready to be a long-term partner until they're 40s, 50s. So, you know, a lot of times they end up marrying the woman they are, and you've probably heard this a million times, they marry the woman who they're with when they're ready to be married. They could have loved other women more, had better relationships, but they weren't ready. They weren't ready if they weren't ready, right? So that's the whole point. So it can move a lot differently in the different age groups. Okay, because life is a lot different in your 40s, your early 40s to your mid 40s to your late 40s to your 50s. Things are different. So dating changes. It's a little different in each of those age groups. If you've had a long-term relationship and you're watching this and you're like 34, 35, and you're like, okay, I'm going back on the apps. It's been a million years since I was on them, right? It's different. So your time horizon is going to be different for each of you, but you should decide that before you get into the dating world. And if you're just starting to date someone, it's not too late to put these boundaries in place. Okay. They're really important because they will keep you emotionally safe. And I think the most important thing is to stay detached, to be not to be looking for to run away from the connection is not what I'm saying. It's that if it doesn't work out, you're okay either way, right? Obviously you want it to work out, but if it doesn't work out, it doesn't bring you down, right? It doesn't you just go, okay, that didn't work out because what's meant for you won't pass you. I know it's cliche, but if it's meant to be, it'll be. And if it's not meant to be, it won't meant to be. And sometimes it's just not meant to be right now, right? You still need to do more learning and growing on your journey. So just be willing to walk away. Okay. That is absolutely the best advice. Be willing to walk away. That is self respect and self love. Okay. And as promised, I said that if you stayed until the end of the episode, I had a special bonus for you. And this is how to deal with ghosting and even zombies when they return from the dead. So if you don't know what a zombie is because you're like an older millennial or you're Gen X or you're an older Gen X person, then a zombie is when someone ghosts you and then we used to call it a resurfacer when I was younger, me and my friends, but they call it zombies now and they just return. They spin the block as they say. And they come back out of nowhere with like a hey, what you doing? Or how are you? Or like just like some sort of message out of nowhere. And so the best way to first of all to deal with ghosting is to just remind yourself that the trash takes itself out. Honestly, it's true though. Honestly, if it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. If someone would risk losing you, they're not meant for you. They're not good enough for you. They're just not the right person for you. So you just think about it logically instead of emotionally, because all the times this is what I talk about the fantasy. We build this fantasy, this hope up in our mind. And then when it doesn't happen, we're so disappointed and demoralized and sad, and we start getting bitter and we start thinking that dating or online dating sucks and blah 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 blah. But this is about meeting as many people as you can as safely as possible and determining if you're a fit, if you can cohabitate, like coexist together, if you can create something beautiful together. And so it is kind of like interviewing for a job. It's the job of your partner, of your best friend, you know, and of your lover. And so you need to meet different people to qualify them, basically. I mean, it takes the romance out of it, I know, but it's very much logical. And so if someone no call, no shows for work, they get fired. At least when I used to work in corporate, that's how it was. And that's how I am with my employees. Right? Like if you're not doing the job, if you don't show up, you don't call, you're fired. So if someone just falls off, you pull back, you fall off, you match effort. Let them go. If they disappear, let them go. On to the next one. Keep looking, keep going, keep moving forward. Now, if they circle the block and come back as a zombie, they come back to life, then it's up to you. You know, because sometimes they fall off and it's kind of a test to see what you'll do if you'll chase, right? Or what you'll do just to see. And it's up to you what you want to do with that. But um you don't have to respond. You don't have to respond. Or you can do what I do, and I just simply say, hey, how are you? I'm polite. And I tell them that I actually am looking for someone who is more interested in me. That's where I would like to place my energy. You know, I'm looking for an equal investment. So you don't seem very interested in me unless I'm mistaken. And I'm looking for someone to put my energy towards that is as interested in me at a level to which I feel comfortable with. And that's it. Unless I'm mistaken. Did I have that wrong? And they'll let me know. And if I didn't have it wrong, this is where we part ways. Sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, I'm multiple dating and I'm seeing another girl and I don't know what it's going to and I'm multiple dating. I until I narrow it down to the right one. So I get it. I'm not opposed to that. I mean, I'm not polyamorous or anything. I'm monogamous, but I narrow it down to the one I'm going to be monogamous with. And then that's what I do, right? And so if this person is like telling me that they're multiple dating and all of that, I'm cool with it, but as long as everybody knows. So if this other female does not know that they're multiple dating, but they're trying to multiple date with me, I'm not into it. And I'm also not into feeling like a side chick. So if they can't multiple date and I still feel like I'm the only woman they're talking to, I'm also not feeling it. Right? So it's up to you though. It's your decision, but that is how I deal with zombies, right? And ghosts, I just let them go. Like water off a duck's back, the saying is. You just let it roll right off. You don't you just go on to the next one. And this, like I said, circling back to the beginning of the episode, it's about the fantasies that you're creating about this person. It's about what emotions you are attaching onto this person before you even know them. So pull yourself back into the present, have your support system help you stay accountable, and just go slow. Time is your friend in dating, especially online dating. Text relationships mean nothing. So don't put any emotional investment in a guy who's just texting you and texting you and texting you and texting you, or a girl who's just texting you, and you're not taking it to the next level, because relationships are also about progress. And so, in my preference, the men that I deal with, they progress the relationship forward. If they're not doing that, then I'm highly likely to let them know at some point, hey, I'm looking for something else. I don't ghost people. I let them know. And so if more people did that, ghosting wouldn't happen. But a lot of people don't have the confidence or just the etiquette, the good manners to not ghost. And that in and of itself tells you something about who they really are, if you really think about it. So, anyway, that's a wrap for today. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you want to be part of the episode, you have to drop a comment and chat with me and say hi. I appreciate all the feedback, all the comments. Remember, if you want to follow my pinup journey, you have to go see at Creativity. Here is my 2 covers. You see that? And this one. And I'm having so much fun. I've just gotten into 2 more magazines that are coming up for a Retro Lovely magazine. So that's going to be fun. I'll keep you posted on that. It's going well. I've got a couple of photo shoots coming up. I'm on TikTok. I am on Instagram for Hot Topics Live. You can follow me at all of those places if you want to follow along. Remember to check out my sponsor, Eris Health, at Eris Health on Instagram to support their mental health app that is in creation right now. It's going to be launching hopefully soon. So keep that in mind as well. And please subscribe, set your notifications so you know when I come live. I come live whenever. Also have the regular podcast episodes. So I have one coming up on Thursday. That one's going to be crazy. It's for magical people with magical businesses. And we're going to tell you how to make 6 figures doing it with my guest, Emily Otto. So tune in for that. And then I'll have another episode of this special limited series on dating after divorce coming up again soon. I appreciate you. I love you guys, and I will talk to you next time.